Welcome back to Bluegrass. It's beautiful but kind of hot August morning. I'm out with May. May is about an 18 or 19 week old working bloodline German Shepherd. And what we're going to talk about today is how one might change their training session parameters based on environmental conditions, okay, and based on their desired results for the day. Now May is a very pattern cognizant dog. She's very easy to work with. And for the most part, she doesn't give us any trouble. Okay. What we've done today, though, is we have rearranged our training times because I know this happens to you in real life. Normally in August and July, what we'll do is we'll kind of get out really early and really late. That way the dogs are full of energy and the sun's not directly overhead, and it makes for a really fun and pleasant training experience. Today, I wanted to wait till the sun was a little bit more directly overhead and the temperature was up. And I wanted to make the point that if you have a training session and that training session can't happen in ideal conditions, okay, then what you're probably going to have to do is back up a few steps, and when it comes to your reinforcement schedule, you're going to have to kind of sweeten the pot a little bit. So you can notice that May and I are out here, and for those of you familiar with our channel, we have a very simple and basic vocabulary. Come, let's go, hup, easy, wait, and stay. And we always practice that vocabulary first on the Exercise with Small Challenges course because we want our vocabulary to be able to be implemented in a wide range of physical conditions. May has habitualized, she's internalized these patterns. So she knows that when we come out, if I ask her to do any of the stuff that we normally do, if she wants to go run and play or lay in the shade, she has to do what I want to do first, okay? We call that access via indirect action. Okay, but today I'm going to add some other stuff to our routine, okay? So it's already hot. It's already a time of day when May was just normally kind of doing something else, okay? And this is where you'll run into with your training programs. Your kids, you got to go to a school meeting or a business meeting or something. Just life gets in the way of perfect dog training. So I'm going to work on some sits and some downs, okay? And I want you to notice that what I do, this pattern here, I've got this pattern. But I'm going to introduce a new pattern to May, and so I'm going to have to go heavy with my reinforcement work. So this would be like if your boss calls you and ask you to work on Thanksgiving or on Sunday, then you probably will, but you're just going to expect a little bit higher wage. Okay, so watch. I'm going to stick my hand in my pocket. Come on, May. And May says, okay, all right, well, I'll do a little harder work if the pay's a little better. So I'm going to try to get a nice straight sit. Okay, I'm going to try to get a stay. And so I'm going to give her 2 treats per exercise here. Okay, very nice. Now I'm going to come up and I want to get a down, okay? Now May's not really good with a down, so I'm going to give her a lot of help plus 2 treats. Reach in my pocket, let her know what's happening. I'm going to go straight into my down. Good. Ask her to stay there. I'm going to walk around. Give her a treat. Good. And then we're going to take off walking again. Let's go. Ask her to put her feet up here on this little set of blocks. I'm going to turn a circle. And notice how I've brought my treat directly into play. I've backed up weeks, okay, in terms of my reinforcement schedule here because I'm adding something new and I'm adding it in adverse environmental conditions. I'm going to come up here, get a nice straight sit. Good. Stay. I'm going to be able to walk far away from the dog and get an extended stay. And there's my second treat, okay? All right, so let me recap the way the whole thing worked, right? So when we started training May, oh my gosh, come on, May. We had to really talk to her a lot. We had to really get her fired up, and I'd reach in my pocket and I'd get a really good treat and I would lead her over each obstacle, and I would give her multiple rewards, like as she was starting to try to conquer the obstacles. I'd really lavish her with praise and lots of treats. Oh my gosh, you're such a good dog. I would bend over. Oh my gosh. The training sessions were really about the puppy. Oh my gosh. Then, as the puppy started to show mastery, and what we do is we use a concept called progression based on mastery. As the dog masters the pattern, then we start to selectively reinforce at differential intervals. Easy. So then it went to, she would get a treat for every obstacle. Good, very nice. Up. Good. And once she started to master that, my posture, notice how my posture's coming up, my head's coming out, my head's coming up, my eyes are going out, my chest is filling, Good. I want to walk. This is how I want to walk. I want to walk looking at stuff. I want May to look at stuff. We're going to have a good time. All right. So we went from lots of treats per obstacle to one treat per obstacle to really my posture being kind of like I'm enjoying my walk and she's enjoying her walk. And the treats are just coming every once in a while, just at kind of random patterns. Very nice. Up, up. And after a little while, oh my gosh, May's a very good dog. She started to realize that there was something bigger at play here. And that bigger thing was, like, if she just come out here and knocked out this course, then she got to go play with all her buddies. And once the dog understands that, once they understand the real concept of access via indirect action, that's where you can get your work. That's where they'll sit for a treat, or they'll sit for paying, you know, for you to pay attention to them, for you to love on them, okay? They'll come to you, they'll walk nicely on the leash because they realize that the overall pattern there is that there are activities, you know, that unlock their access to everything they want, whether it's you know, food or attention or a ball or access to the other dogs, or they want to go out back and chase the four-wheeler, whatever it is. Okay? So we got all that knocked out. But then I say, hey, let's do something just a little harder. And May's like, well, look, Stonnie, I already do hard stuff. I've been working all week. You know, I don't know that I want to. And I say, you know what? I tell you what, since it's harder and since it's a, you know, a hot part of the day, I'm going to pay you a little more. And so as I started to come over here, now I have to go back kind of to where we were in the very beginning. I got to like take my treats, and I got to really show her a lot of attention. I have to really make this part of the exercise about the dog. Oh my gosh, I come in here, good. Oh my gosh, very nice. I walk around her. Oh my gosh, very nice. I get another treat, and I'd lead her down here, good. And I put her in a nice straight down. Oh my gosh, very good. See, I'm kind of like still like hunched over. It's all about the dog, obviously about the dog. Very nice. Okay, let's go. Get her up here. Do you know? And I start to turn. Oh my gosh, you're the smartest dog I've ever seen. Good. See, everything's about the dog. And I bring my hand up. Oh, nice straight sit. I stay there for a second. I'm going to go over here and get you a treat, a special treat, and I'm going to bring it back to you. Everything's about the dog. Right, okay. Everybody does a little better when they're feeling special, okay? But then every time I do it, like the dog gets more habituated to the activity, and I need for the activity to be more reliable in real life, so I have to start acting more like it's a real life situation. And in a real life situation, I'm not gonna be really paying a lot of attention to my dog. I'm gonna be out doing whatever I'm doing, and so we're out walking. And every so often, I'm going to have to ask her to sit. I'm going to have to ask her to stay. And there might be a treat, might not be a treat. Good, since we haven't been working on this very long, maybe I'll give her a treat per exercise. Let's go. Very nice. Each time I'll try to down. I'll try to bend down a little bit less. Good. Stay there. Very nice. Head up, eyes out. I'm walking. I'm like, wait here a second, we got to turn around. Oh my gosh, we got to turn around, dog, and go this way maybe, or maybe we're going to turn around and go that way, or maybe we'll turn all the way around and go back straight. Good. And then we'll sit here and stay there for a little while. I got to go to the car. This time it's not all about you. It might take a little longer. In particular, I'm going to walk over here and get me a drink of coffee. And so you can see the training session just kind of goes from being all about the dog to being partly about the dog. And then eventually the dog starts to understand, you know, sometimes it gets to be about her and sometimes it doesn't get to be about her. And, you know, I mean, isn't that how real life goes? Okay. And now she's off work, which is what she really wanted. And after you've done all this stuff enough times, the dog kind of just looks at you and says, okay, Stonnie, whatever you're doing, I understand how to adapt to this situation, because I know that if I adapt to this situation, I make you happy, you're going to do your very best to make me happy, and making me happy comes from letting me do what I want. Okay, so that's kind of just a little compressed version of how to modify your reinforcement schedule and your expectations when you change the difficulty level of a training exercise, or you are working in adverse conditions. All right, now I'm out with Gunner. Gunner's about a 19-week-old English or showbred Labrador Retriever, and I'm going to walk him around the course one time. Now, from the other video, you'll notice that it's still middle of the day. Sun is directly overhead. It's hot. hot weather is extremely hard on a cold weather dog. So when I bring a dog like Gunner out, you know, I adjust my expectations downwards. I don't expect for him to perform as well at midday as he does at 5:30 in the morning or 10 o'clock at night. Okay, so right off the bat, first thing I do is I adjust my expectations based on the environmental conditions. The second thing that I have to be willing to do is I have to be willing to sweeten the pot if I'm asking him to do something that he considers harder than our normal work routine. May, Gunner has pretty much internalized our basic vocabulary, which is come, let's go, hup, easy, wait, and stay. And he's really good at implementing that vocabulary in a wide variety of physical conditions, as illustrated here on our Exercise with Small Challenges course. You can see him working with me, and he's doing pretty well. I'm not having to give him any treats right now. But as we come off of this last obstacle and we move on to a new and novel section of our training routine, then I'm going to have to change my expectations and I'm going to have to sweeten the pot simultaneously. Okay, so as I come off of here, I know that we're moving into something that he's not familiar with. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and reach in my pocket. I'm going to access kind of a high value treat. And what I'm telling him is I'm telling him that I'm willing to pay him to, you know, like overtime pay to do something harder, right? Okay, I'm going to come out of here and we're going to work on getting him to sit in a nice straight sit in the center of these pads. I'm going to drop my hand, I'll pull my hand up. Get him to be pretty straight. I'm asking him to stay. Okay. Now, so the first thing I want you to notice in this video is that I have adjusted my expectations and I have adjusted my payment schedule, right? Okay. Now, what's going to make this part of the video interesting as compared to the other is I'm also going to change handlers with the dog. So I'm going to let you see how it looks when I'm doing it. Stay. Okay. But I'm going to let my daughter do it, and you can see what it looks like when a little girl's trying to do it. Now stay there. So I asked him to stay and he said, I think I need a little bit of extra pay, boss. And I'm kind of stuck in a situation where, like, I think that's fair. I mean, he's got a certain, amount of negotiating power here because he's being honest. I'm asking him to do something at a time of day that we don't normally do things, under conditions where we're not normally working, and the work that I'm asking him to do is harder than it was yesterday, Okay? But we work on a concept called progression via mastery. Stay. So once we master a given set of exercises or exercises in specific environmental conditions, then we strive to make it a little bit harder on the dog, because what creates growth in a dog is stress. When you stress a dog physically and mentally, they have to adapt. That's called the adaptation principle. Okay, so this dog just had to adapt to an additional set of exercises that we tacked on to our basic vocabulary work. And now he's going to have to also adapt to a different handler. Okay. Now, English Labrador Retrievers are very willing dogs, so they're pretty good at going from handler to handler. But Charlotte's going to have to probably come in here and pay him a little bit more because he's already been at work. We're asking him to pick up another shift. And not only are we asking him to pick up another shift, but we're asking him to pick up another shift with a different manager. And this particular manager is not quite as well schooled as the manager that he was working for on the first shift. Okay, so since we know that we're asking the dog to do more, we're going to pay the dog more. Now, the neat thing about all this stuff, okay, is that what Charlotte's having to do there, where she's having to pay him, okay, that's all short term. Over the course of time, Charlotte will be able to fade away from the treat work. Slow down a little bit, Charlotte. Let your mom catch you. Yeah, she'll be able to fade away from the treat work because the dog will start to understand that Charlotte is also in control of access to all the fun things in life. And as the dogs make Charlotte happy, even though she's a small stature person, right, she still has the power to unlock access to super fun activities. And so in the beginning stages, when the dogs are not quite as well schooled, they're not quite as self-disciplined, they lack attention span and impulse control, we use a lot of rewards to keep them focused and to keep them motivated to work for different people. Okay? But over the course of time, just like when we were talking about with the German Shepherd, the dogs start to learn to unlock access to whatever it is that they want via indirect action, and that indirect action is usually being calm, attentive, and polite, or displaying some portion of our normal basic obedience work, which is come, let's go, huff, easy, wait, and stay. Very nice. Stay there. Perfect. Now, so if you run into a little bit of problem, no worries. Just go back there and start again. And you'll see, like right here, Charlotte had a little bit of a hiccup. Okay, and that little bit of a hiccup, that's a learning experience for Charlotte, and it's a learning experience for the dog. So when you're out with your dogs, guys, again, remember, anytime something changes, it doesn't matter whether it's environmental condition, the dog's developmental stage, or the handler's involved, then you have to adjust your expectations downwards. No dog is perfect, you know, and the thing is also is one of the things you got to be really careful about is you're not watching yourself. And so, like, if you're the mom or dad and you're trying to recruit the children to do the work, a lot of times you'll think they're doing it wrong, and you don't realize that you're probably doing it wrong also. Very nice. Very nice. What we're looking for is for the dog and the child to, look like they've come to a happy, fun, mutual agreement in terms of getting the work done. Good. And what's an appropriate pay schedule? Very nice. Very nice. Okay. And then over the course of time, let me take back over for a second, Charlotte. Over the course of time, what you do is you say, that was great, okay? And then you just make really small improvements. You got your little notebook, and like the only thing that, as we ended this little pattern, the only things that went wrong was we had a little bit of trouble with the down, and we had a little bit of trouble with a nice straight sit. So we just go back over it, and I say to the dog, hey, I know that you've already done this. I'd like for you to do it a little better. I'm going to pay you like even more. And we say to the other handler, we say, let's try to straighten that up a little bit. So I'm going to come with my treat here, and I'm going to go nice and straight down. Good. And then I'm going to make a note. Like, what I would like to have happen is I would like for this dog to get in the middle of these squares. Okay. And then when I come up there to this red square, I would like for the dog to be in the middle of this square. Okay. And I'd like for him to sit nice and straight with his back end up under him. Okay? And so that's what we would be looking for. What we're definitely not looking for is leaving the square. But that's what happens. That's what happens. So, and what basically the dog just told me right then, he said, Stonnie, listen, I'm at work, you're the manager, you're on a coffee break, stay. I don't think I should have to be working while you're on the coffee break, so we need to lead by example. Very nice. All right. All right, so what I feel like as the manager of the other manager, who is the manager of this dog, I feel like we have enough left in us to get it just a little better. So we're going to start all the way back over at the cones, and we're going to make it all about the dog, and we're going to try to get it as close to perfect as possible. So I'm going to come out here. I'm going to bring my clicker back into play so I can really get some precision here. Come with nice straight sit. Good, click, treat, stay. Head up, eyes out, click, treat, good. Now I know that I have trouble with the downs, so I'm going to come here. Already staged my treat and my clicker. Very nice. Stay. Up. Now looky here, that tells me I'm having a problem right there. Let's get back in that down. Good, I'm gonna take my treat away. Good. Gotta be very careful about my posture. If that dog's moving or getting up or not in the right spot, okay, most of the time it's because I'm doing something. I'm using some leash pressure, or I'm moving my hand in such a way that's drawing him out of position. And you'll see, like right there where I reached down here like this to show you, he got up and out of position. Get him back in this down. Very nice. But I would like for him to be right in the middle of these pads. Oh my gosh, you can do it. Stay there. Oh, now, yeah, that's a little bit closer than it was before. So say, appreciate it. Very nice. But notice that my reinforcement schedule has really increased. I'm giving lots more treats, lots of overtime pay. Very nice. Very nice. Stay. Good, very nice. All right, he did great. So now he's off work. And guys, I had some hiccups there, right? Remember, it's a young dog. I'm not a perfect dog handler. My daughter's not a perfect dog handler. So what we do every day is we focus on teeny tiny bits of improvement, because trust me, over the course of a year, right, a little bit of progress each week, it adds up and you end up with an awesome dog, okay? But have fun, and remember, like a lot of things, like from this dog's perspective, you know, he said, Stonnie, we've already been working. It's kind of hot out here. You know, this doesn't seem like much fun. But then as soon as I started paying him more, since he loves food, he went, wait a minute, it is fun after all, so I'll hang around and do it. And I was able to go back and I was able to try to get a little bit more precision out of it. And we all ended up having a great time. We got stressed a little bit. The stress causes adaptation, right? We learned to work through problems. And I learned to be a better manager. My daughter learned to be a better manager. And this little guy here, he learned to be managed, and he learned the value of putting in that overtime work. All right, I'll see you guys next week.